Some of Boston's top officials were on hand for the grand opening of a new women's residential recovery program this morning. And as Adam Riley tells us, the symbolism of the moment loomed large for the city.
To get a sense of why the opening of New Jolynn's home in Roxbury is such a big deal, flash back to 2014, when Boston's Long Island, which housed hundreds of people struggling with homelessness and addiction, closed without warning.
I didn't know where it was going to land. I didn't know what was going to happen next.
That threw residents' lives into disarray and earned Mayor Marty Walsh some sharp criticism. Now, 2.5 years later, the launch of New Jolynn's sends a message. Boston has come full circle.
When Long Island closed, we lost both shelter beds for our most vulnerable and treatment beds. And so this today represents us bringing back all of the programs, the end of a difficult but productive couple of years.
Sheila Dillon is Boston's chief of housing. She says ever since Long Island was evacuated, the city has been striving to replace what was lost.
We had to start scouring the city and the surrounding towns looking for new locations. And it's not easy to cite treatment facilities or new shelter.
Neighborhood opposition was one factor. So was money. New Jolynn's home alone cost $850,000 to buy and about $2 million to renovate. But now 24 women in recovery will share a space many of us might envy.
There will always be a staff person working here, so anyone who comes through the front door will have a friendly face.
Sarah Porter is the COO of Victory Programs, which runs New Jolynn's.
We do have kind of curfews and set schedules. And then as they've been here longer, there's more and more freedom that comes along. So in the end, we may have someone who is working a full-time job, is getting ready to transition to housing, is getting ready to reunite with her children.
There's plenty of continuity here with the original Jolynn's home on Long Island, from decor to staff. But there's also a major difference. Instead of living away from society, residents will be in the middle of the city. Jonathan Scott, Victory Program's president, believes that on balance, that's a good thing.
Long Island, was wonderful for what it was. It was beautiful and beautiful views, a little isolated, but the women coming to this program right here in the heart of Boston will have access to health care, will have access to, job opportunities, will have transportation. They can do that here with a lot of support.
Sheila Dillon, the city's housing chief, sees another silver lining. As traumatic as Long Island's closure was, she says, it's pushed Boston to treat homelessness and addiction with a new level of seriousness.
We're now seeing homeless people on a daily basis, and we really are reforming both our shelter and our our housing delivery systems. So it brings the issues closer, and I think that's a good lens to have.
Adam Riley joins me now. Hey, Adam.
Hey, John.
There's a lot of legitimate anger at this abrupt closing, but listening to Sheila Dillon at the beginning of your package, it sounds like she's saying we are now back at least at the same level of service provision as we were
at
before?
least at the same level, and maybe even more for Victory Programs in particular. This gets them back to where they were before Long Island shut down. But the city gave me a great big detailed count of program beds for people dealing with addiction, shelter beds for homeless people. And they've actually got more now than they had before Long Island's closure.
The amount of money, I was stunned. $850 plus $3.33 million. Where's this coming from?
It's I think, and I needed to double check the figures myself. I think it's $850,000 to buy it, and then about $2 million to rehab it. They got a grant from an anonymous foundation that helped them buy the place. The state and the city, I think, each kicked in around $800,000 to help them rehab it. And it's beautiful, and you can actually imagine, it is a ton of money, but if I were someone dealing with addiction, trying to rebuild my life, it would be a beautiful space to do it in.
I should know the answer to this question, so I'm almost embarrassed to ask it. Is Long Island dead and gone?
I thought Long Island was just kaput, but Sheila Dillon tells me that conversations are going on in earnest around Long Island's future. She says the mayor's talking to a lot of people. They see it as a valuable asset, and they want to come up with a use that helps cover the cost of the bridge, which was news to me.
That's news to me, too. Adam Riley, thanks so much.